Isolation is something that will absolutely destroy you. But you see, in that process of destroying you, in that process of breaking down everything you thought you knew, it actually sets you free. It actually sets you free from your doubt, free from what the world thinks about you, free from what you think about you. Isolation can be the worst thing you've ever done in your life, or it can be the best. Most people, they don't know how to be by themselves. They don't know how to be alone. And as simple as it sounds is, yeah, I'm by myself, doesn't mean you know how to be alone. We are social creatures as humans, as we evolved, or whatever you want to believe. We developed into social creatures, as I said. So that means, we realized as humans that it was easier to get by with, numbers instead of just by ourselves. So we grew to become social creatures, build community, build, huts together, form in populous areas. But the trade-off with that, you see, is when you're constantly surrounded by people and you're constantly surrounded by the city, is that they keep telling you what to think instead of asking you, what do you believe? And what I mean by that is you're so drowned out by the noise of the cars, of what's on the TV, of everyone else's opinions, that you forgot about your own view of the world. And in a way, you lose yourself in that sense. You definitely do, because we'll never know who we are. You'll never know completely who you are, because we're forever growing, so, but what you don't want to do is distract yourself with so much noise, with so much instant gratification, with so much ill will, living through other people, having to put your 2 cents on everyone else. It's honestly very important to learn how to be alone, because you have to learn how to show up for yourself. You got no problem showing up to your friend's house and showing up to the, the hangout, whatever it is, at whatever time. You got no problem showing up for everything else, all these events and other people. But when it's time to show up for yourself, you're nowhere to be found, And I get it. We live in a world of distraction. Everywhere you look is just looking for a way to get your attention, and it does. Look at social media. That's you doom scroll and you don't even know why. I don't know why you do, and you don't either. It's just distraction. Because when you turn the noise off and the lights go out, you're stuck with who you actually are. And most people, they don't like what they see, because they're not who they thought they were. And it's also important for relationships too, because if you can't learn to be alone, be happy with yourself, be in love with yourself, really, you'll never learn how to love another person, how to love anything, actually, because it all starts and it all ends with you. The day you were born, it started with you, and the day you die will end with you. Anyways, it's important for relationships because you're not always going to be able to be next to your person, and I know, that could breed a lot of insecurity, if you will, and that's why it's so important to learn how to be alone and to learn to be comfortable with who you are, and really just to own your shit, own who you are. If you're a fuck up, you're the best fuck up God made, you're God's favorite mistake, so it's learning to own who you are. We can't control what happened in the past, but we can learn to love who we are right now, and it's important, like I said, especially if you're in a relationship, because you're not always going to be by your person, and even if they're off, you two are somewhere, you want to be comfortable just letting them, do whatever, go scatter, go do something, and you just want to be able to be comfortable in your own skin, You know, it's like you know who you are and you're proud of what you are. You know, become proud of where you come and, you know, what you want to do with your life. And, you know, I guess, yeah, that's kind of the relationship stint, is just to, you know, be there for you, you know, because if you're not, who else is gonna, you know? And on top of that, you can't take care of yourself, how you gonna take care of someone else? If, you know, you ain't got a clear headspace in your own head, how you think you're gonna project that out onto other people? You know, what do you think that's gonna look like? You know, how you feel inside is what's gonna look like outside, you know? It's a mirror, you know? So, isolation, it will set you free. But, like I said, it will fucking destroy you. You know, everything you thought you believed in, not even you thought you knew, everything you thought you believed in, everything you thought could be, all will get destroyed. But you see, the gift in that is now you get to build back the pieces of who you want to be and what life you see for yourself. You know, now you get to write your own story. It's not going to be just written for you. You're not just a side character watching your life pass you by. Sorry. Need some agua. I ain't got no agua. Anyways, if you want to grow, isolation is necessary. And that's the truth, you know? You will never see someone, I mean, you know, if you admire someone who you see after and, you know, you'd like to live a life like theirs, they all went through this process of isolation, you know, of me versus me, you know, me versus the mirror, because that's what it really is. It's a battle within yourself, a game within the game, you know, is I'm going to be the best version of me. That way the world can have the best version of me, you know? And ultimately, my friend, it's about love, you know? It really is. As corny as that may sound, love really does conquer all. And you have to learn to love yourself, you know? I love me. My hair looks like ramen noodles, you know? But I love who I am, and I love where I am, you know? And I hope you learn to love yourself too, because the gift that you could be to the world is something to see. But till next time, my friends.